Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Cosmic Origins. My name is Jace. We have a stacked episode today. Lots of awesome stories to talk about. XRP's pumping right now. There's updates in the SEC lawsuit, in this whole financial reset. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about ETH. We're going to talk about how these are really the banking institutional cartel coins and how they've projected all this on XRP. We're going to talk about the different financial factors going on right now with the rising of interest rates, with the recession, that we're in, that they're trying to say we're not in. And we're going to really bring it all full circle and talk about what this means for the full financial reset that we are about to experience on the planet and the greatest transfer of wealth that humanity has ever seen for the better. So let's get into it. I want to say first off, this episode is sponsored by Conscious Crypto, which is my coaching business. So if you want to get into cryptocurrency, if you want to learn how to take advantage of this wealth transfer, the greatest transfer of generational wealth that will ever occur on the planet, you can go to my website, consciouscrypto.info. Link is in the description. I have a video explaining the coaching program where you can learn a little more about it. And basically in this program, we go over a bunch of different things, everything that you need to know to basically be successful in this new financial system, how to plant the seeds of success in this new financial system. So we're going to talk about the fundamentals, basically giving you a solid understanding of the entire space of crypto, what you need to know, how the technology works, how Bitcoin and Ethereum are different than XRP. We're going to talk about how to reset and reprogram your mind for success in this new financial system, how to understand money, how to understand the collective consciousness on a mass scale so that you aren't being reactive to the masses, but you're being responsive, just like how we should kind of seek to do in our normal lives. We don't want to be reactive, but we do want to be responsive. So we talk about that. We bring it full circle with the consciousness aspect and talk about how cryptocurrency and XRP in particular are more of the God-mind consciousness and moving away from this parasitic triangle siphoning up system that we've been in for so long, that this rat race that we've run in. So we're going to talk about how this is more representative of almost the way that the Akashic records work, and that the ways that we see creation work throughout the cosmos and how that comes full circle with blockchain. And we also talk about how to find a number of these hidden gem cryptos. I'll give you all the different cryptos that I'm invested in, why I'm invested in them, where to find them, and everything you need to know about them. And then finally, we're going to show you how to set up multiple passive income streams using everything we've learned throughout the program. So we have 4 primary passive income streams that we focus on that we can do all at the same time. And the passive income is really what really sets us apart in this new financial system from the old financial system. The ability to earn significantly more income interest-wise and through many different mechanisms than you could in the bank. In fact, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, in the bank right now, you actually lose money because there's negative interest. It's like negative 1% or something right now. So if you're holding money in the bank, not only is inflation going up and you're just losing out because the dollar's becoming worth less and less and things are becoming more expensive, but you have negative interest in the bank. So that's dumb, right? We don't want that system anymore. So this is going to show you how to plant the seeds in this new system. And really, the main focus is financial sovereignty and security. So you want to hold your money somewhere where no third party can touch it. You don't want a bank. You don't want some private company. You don't want a government being able to come in and manipulate your finances because they don't like you and they don't like what you're saying. And unfortunately, I've seen that happen to a number of my friends with channels. They've had their PayPal shut down. Some people have had their bank shut down. There's a big liquidity crisis right now where people are unable to pull their money out of the banks because there's no money there, right? It's just fake numbers. There's nothing actually backing it up in most cases. And many countries are experiencing this bank run situation right now, where you'll see it all over the internet, all over Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, where people are going to their banks and there's no money to pull out. So that's a big problem. So we want to keep our money somewhere where there's actually value supporting it. There's a limited supply. There's not inflation that's going like crazy, and no third party can go in and mess with your finances, because that's not sovereignty of energy. And in this new financial system, it's all about sovereignty of energy. It's all about sovereignty of what you should have a divine right to, that no one else should be able to mess with and manipulate. So to me, that's one of the most important parts of this new system, is that sovereignty and financial security. So if you want to check that out, again, link in the description for the coaching program. You can book a free call with me. We'll see if your goals fit what the program offers, and if you're a good fit, we'll get you signed up. If not, I'll try to point you somewhere else that is maybe a better direction for what you're looking for. And with that, welcome everybody on the live. Good to see you guys. Hey Clayton, hey Ascension Diaries, hey Joel, hey Claudette, hey Schumann Beings. I don't know how you pronounce that, Datalis Art and Tattoo, but hey, what's up, man? Good to see you. And if you guys wouldn't mind hitting like and maybe sharing this video in a Telegram group or Facebook or wherever you are most active on social media, that would really help out a lot, because I'm trying to get this channel pumping again and going again. It's been a bit since I've been consistent here, because I've been so focused on building this coaching program and helping people in this respect, but I'm ready to start getting back into this and making these videos again. So first off, I want to start with XRP woke up and it's pumping. We woke up and it was over 12% pump on the market. So right now we're looking at the 4-hour chart. That means that each of these little candles that you see here represents 4 hours of time. Okay, so we've been kind of hanging out and, you know, doing a little back and forth kind of snake motion. And then today around 5 a.m. Pacific time, we saw an over 10% increase in a single 4-hour candle. And that was more than any of the other cryptos out there. So if we take a look at Bitcoin, for instance, Bitcoin's only up 2.5%, nowhere near the 10% plus that we see with XRP right now. So that's a good sign, because what we're about to talk about is why this financial reset is really upon us, and how we're going to see this, particularly XRP, start to break away, I believe, from the rest of the financial market. And that's not to say that they're not, you know, there might be, there's still the potential of this multi-market crash. I think that that is a looming timeline, that is a potential. And whether or not that happens, I still have full faith and confidence that XRP will be the one that rises from the ashes, because it is the one that is being set up to be the for the people currency. And as we're going to get into in a little bit with the information about ETHgate, we're finding out more and more that Ethereum and Bitcoin are actually the actual bankers' coins, the coins that the cartel banks have been working with, setting up, and investing in for quite some time. So that is a very important factor in all this. So one of the first things I want to point out with XRP and the price pumping is we are actually running out of liquidity on the exchanges. Now, what does that mean? Liquidity refers to the movement of money. And if you picture water being a liquid, and water fills the shape of its container and it moves, right? So when you say liquidity in terms of markets, it references how accessible, how quick you can move money around from the planet, from person to person, from country to country. How quickly can money be withdrawn and moved around? So we were just talking about with the banks that there is a liquidity crisis. So that means that there's very low liquidity because people aren't able to pull their money out of the banks right now. If everyone were to go to the banks and try to pull out their money, there's not going to be enough for people to pull out, and that's what we're seeing. So there is low liquidity for XRP availability on the exchanges, and what that means is that the availability of XRP is literally drying up. It's becoming inaccessible, and the exchanges are running out of crypto. So we can see here in this graphic that someone put this together. They basically went to each of the major exchanges and looked at the wallet holdings to see how much XRP is available in each of them. And there's only about 6,000 million, which is 6 billion XRP available on the exchanges. And there's a total supply of 100 billion XRP total. So to only have 6 billion available for people to buy, that's really low. that means that people are not wanting to sell their XRP. That means the big holders, including Ripple, who owns just under, I should say, half the supply, they are not selling their XRP either. Well, they are selling XRP, but they're also buying it. So they're actually buying XRP from the secondary market, like these exchanges. So what we're going to see is that these exchanges are going to basically have less and less XRP available to buy until there's pretty much none left for people to buy anymore, because the demand will be so high that people will not want to sell it. And this is one of the reasons why this is such a good investment right now, because not only are we investing in the new financial system, in the quantum financial system that is for the people, by the people, but it's an amazing opportunity investment wise, and it's going to create this transfer of wealth, because the demand, especially when the world systems kick in, when the flip of the switch occurs, as we say, the demand is going to be so high that people aren't going to want to sell it. And I believe that that's the true reason that these large exchanges like Coinbase, like Binance, like Kraken, Crypto.com have all removed XRP from being available to purchase. They try to say it's because of this SEC lawsuit, and they don't want to get sued for selling an unregistered security because the SEC is going after Ripple, but they've already proved in court that they would not be liable. That's one of the big revelations that came out this week from attorney John Deaton, who is fighting on behalf of the XRP holders in the court. And so not only did the SEC try to kick him out of basically having his voice heard in the court, because he represents the people, and he basically brought a class action lawsuit on behalf of the XRP holders, who are the strongest community in crypto. Of course, the SEC doesn't want that. They don't want that voice heard in the court, because they're very corrupt and they're trying to keep this on the down low. They don't want people having their voice heard. And so not only was it ruled that John Deaton would be continued to basically allowed to speak his voice in the court ruling, but it was also ruled that essentially the exchanges are not liable for selling securities. So the only entity that is potentially liable for selling securities, which is also completely untrue, and we're going to find that out very soon, is Ripple themselves. They said that any other XRP holder does not apply to this, including the exchanges. So the fact that the exchanges continue to not sell XRP, except for Uphold, that's our favorite exchange because it's the only one in the US that sells XRP. I believe the reason that they're holding it is because they don't want to sell it. They want a reason to not have to sell it, because if they listed it, that would mean they would have to sell it to people. And unfortunately for Coinbase, especially right now, and Crypto.com and a lot of these big exchanges, they're falling under, and they are basically collapsing. They're going bankrupt. They're having to lay off tons of people. Meanwhile, Ripple is expanding, hiring. They just opened a new headquarters in Canada. They're growing fast. Uphold also growing fast. The only exchange that's selling XRP, right? So we're seeing these basically NWO exchanges, these cabal exchanges, start to collapse. And if they had to sell XRP, it would be even worse for them, because they know what's coming. They know that this is going to be the biggest asset on the planet and create the greatest transfer of wealth, and they want a piece of that pie. So this is their way of being able to not have to sell those assets, by basically saying, well, we're just going to delist it, and then they can hoard their supply. That's what I'm seeing going on here. Dr. Andres in the chat says, who set up XRP? What about XLM? We're actually going to get into that in just a moment. I'll answer the first part of that first, and then we'll talk about XLM in a moment. So who created XRP? It was actually not Ripple, the company, but it was, and let's see, you know what? I'm gonna put that question on pause for a moment, because we're gonna come to that in about 3 tabs from here, and we'll dive into that. But first, I want to talk about the Fed hike and the interest rate hike. So as I'm sure everyone heard, earlier this week on Wednesday, it was announced that they were raising interest rates again. Of course, right, this is kind of was expected. and the market reacted, both the traditional market and the crypto market reacted in a positive way, and we saw an increase in the price of the market, including XRP and pretty much everything else, Bitcoin and everything else. So that was, let's see, Wednesday was the 27th, so that would put us right here. So this is when, and each of these candles in this one is 1 day, so each of these represents 1 day. So right here is where we saw the Fed raise interest rates and where we saw the Fed raise interest rates, and immediately there was a pump in the market. So we saw things go up right away, including in the traditional markets. And that was to be expected. So we kind of, according to some of the technical analysis that I watch, including the blockchain backer, he's one of my favorites. He was saying we should essentially wait until Friday to kind of see how this played out on a larger scale. And Friday's come and gone, and it looks like the markets are continuing to pump. So people are essentially more bullish in the new financial system because they're seeing the older one continue to collapse, continue to struggle, continue to try to offset inflation and yada yada. All right, the other thing that I want to point out, and this is kind of going to get into that question about who set up XRP now. So David Schwartz is the original architect, the main architect of the XRP technology. He is essentially one of the most advanced cryptographers in the world, if not the most advanced, and he is one of the 3 people who created XRP. Now, I want to point this out because on the 13th of July, he made this tweet. And if you follow David Schwartz, if you've heard me talk about it, or you follow any of the circles that talk about this stuff, you'll know that David Schwartz puts out lots of cryptic tweets. I mean, he is one of the top cryptographers in the world, so it makes sense he'd be putting out cryptic tweets. And at the very top of the market, about 8 months ago, he put out a tweet saying, hey, if you've made life-changing wealth in cryptocurrency, it might not be a bad idea to take profits. In fact, you should probably take profits to make sure that you're going to be okay. Right after that, the market started to dump. And I'm not saying it dumped because he made this tweet, because he's not like some he's not like a super influential person on Twitter. Like he's not like an Elon Musk that's going to make a tweet and that's going to cause the market to dump. He knew what was coming, and he was warning people that they should take profits and basically, prepare themselves. And some people listened, some people didn't. And what we saw was, from then until now, the markets have been going down. So he was right. He put out a little hint, and the people who listened knew what to do. And so now, a couple days ago on July 13th, we got the opposite. We got David Schwartz posting another tweet that indicated that things were going to be going up. He posted this to the moon tweet and said, anyone know where I am? And I went and I looked this morning at July 13th to see where that was in relation to the market. And that was right here. Literally almost the complete bottom of the market. We did get a little bit cheaper here on June 18th, but from the point that he posted that tweet, we've only been going up. Like, even though I knew this was true, it still blew my mind because it confirmed that, he knows stuff and he knows what he's talking about. So, take with that what you will, but, he made the tweet right here. And from then, we've only gone up on average. And now we're seeing much larger volume moving through XRP in particular, even over the other assets. So, like, again, XRP's up 10% today, and everything else is only up a couple percentage points. So, pay attention to that. And, it's interesting because there's a lot of this cryptic stuff that goes on Twitter in particular, and around David Schwartz and around Mr. Poole, who I think is connected to that. Mr. Poole being another figure who has made several market predictions and also real world predictions that have occurred shortly after those, posts were made. So this is like a 17 kind of thing with Mr. Pool, but specifically for this kind of stuff. All right, let's move on. One of the biggest stories of this week that wasn't covered in the mainstream media was that the BRICS nations, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have announced their plans to create a new international reserve currency. Now, this is major because this is one of those things that Mr. Pool, like I was just saying, had predicted far, far in advance. I believe 2 years ago or more, Mr. Pool made several posts about the BRICS nations and showing Trump and showing the BRICS nations coming together to essentially create a new gold-backed reserve currency for the world. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, is that they are creating a new reserve currency for these nations that is based in precious metals. It's directly going to be backed by gold, silver, copper, and the precious metals that these nations mine. And, you know, there's a big reason that the mainstream media has not been talking about this, and it's because they are part of the dark forces that are prolonging the inevitable on the transition to what we would call the quantum financial system. So, you know, this is kind of in opposition to the Great Reset. This is how I see it. We have the Great Reset on one end, which is the Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, yada yada, you will own nothing and be happy about it timeline. And then we have the quantum financial reset, which is the precious metal backed, enabled by cryptos like XRP, and similar ones that will be in that same ecosystem. XRP is the only one that I feel really, really confident about that will be an integral part of that system. But on the flip side, the Great Reset, they want Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so we're going to get into that in a second on how that applies with the banks and everything. But with the quantum financial reset, this is still a financial reset, but it's going to be one that empowers precious metals, that empowers gold and silver in their ability to move about the planet rather than trying to replace them. You know, the Bitcoin people, they say Bitcoin is the new gold. You don't need gold, you have Bitcoin. Okay, that's bullshit, right? Gold is gold. Gold will be valuable forever. Precious metals will be valuable forever. And I think they're a good investment within themselves. But XRP will be one of the main assets that create liquidity and quantum access to these precious metals around the planet. It's not trying to replace them like Bitcoin and Ethereum are. It's going to directly enable the precious metals in addition to the national currencies that are backed by precious metals. So, you know, the dollar right now is a debt note. Every dollar is a debt to someone else, to another entity. It's not backed by anything. It's not backed by gold. So this is why I think the dollar will probably have to collapse or be restructured and backed by gold and then enabled quantumly by XRP and similar cryptocurrencies. And this is exactly what we're seeing here. And there's a reason that the media is refusing to talk about this. So keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on what China and Russia in particular are doing. And I will update you guys when I learn more about this as well. But it's something that's definitely being kept on the hush-hush in the mainstream media. All right. So how does this apply to Bitcoin and Ethereum? And I want to share this tweet from the digital asset investor, who is someone that I follow, obviously. They share a lot of great stuff on YouTube and Twitter. And he says, I think a lot of crypto people are now waking up to the fact that Ethereum was the banker's coin all along. Next wake-up call is Bitcoin. It's never made sense that Wall Street types would blindly put money into something not knowing if the creator could be China. Too risky. Okay, and to give some context about this, the reason why he's saying Ethereum and Bitcoin were the banker's coin all along is because the Bitcoin and Ethereum people will try to say XRP is the banker coin. And the reason they say that is because its use case, at least its use case that's being presented, could be a Trojan horse use case, is to basically revolutionize the banking system and to reset the banking system. And so, the dark powers in general on the planet, they like to project what they are guilty of themselves. This is how the service to self entities work. They will directly blame others for what they are guilty of. And so they blame XRP for being the banker's coin, because what XRP is actually doing is creating a reset and a restructuring on the banking system that the big banks are extremely afraid of, because it's taking their power away and it's giving it back to the people. Okay, but on the surface, it can look like, oh, XRP and Ripple are making all these deals with banks around the world. They must be the banker's coin. They must be the NWO. And that's what the Bitcoin and Ethereum people will try to say. But in reality, what we're finding out is that the banks have been heavily invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum, far more than they have in XRP. And when they do come over to XRP, it's like a reluctancy. It's not something that they're wanting to do. It's like deals are being made. So if you remember when Trump became president, he went around to all the different major world countries. He went to Israel, Saudi Arabia, the Vatican, Russia, China, and he essentially made deals with these countries and said, look, you're gonna, whatever, you're gonna basically be a part of this new system or you're not. And Ripple, the company, is doing the same thing with XRP. They're going to all the world banks and all the world nations, and they're saying, look, this new system is we're gonna be using it no matter what. And it's gonna completely make your old banking cartel system redundant and irrelevant. So you guys can come over to this new system and help it out and help the people and help the quantum financial system, or you can, keep doing what you're doing and slowly die and fall away and become irrelevant. And so this has been the challenge and the fight for these banking systems, is that they don't want to do this, but they're being forced to. And so in the United States, it's kind of the last stand for the banking cartels in a way, where they are still running around with their power. They have the SEC going after Ripple, trying to call it trying to accuse them of selling XRP as an unregistered security, which is basically an unregistered stock. And meanwhile, that is exactly what Ethereum got away with the SEC. The SEC gave Ethereum a free pass on their initial public offering, their initial coin offering, where there is direct evidence, many video clips of them talking about how they sold to private investors before it was offered to the public markets. And essentially, these private investors were the big banks. They were the CEOs. They were the cartels, the financial cartels. And they are the ones that still have majority control over the infrastructure of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So these are the things that you can tell people or your family, your friends, when they're kind of talking about this stuff, and when, maybe they bring up Bitcoin and Ethereum in relation to XRP and they don't really understand the full intricacies of what's going on. The banks are the ones who were heavily invested. And the other thing that came out was that the DHS were aware of who the creators of Bitcoin were. And I say creators because there was a recent clip that came out from one of the DHS agents who talked about how he found out who the 4 creators of Bitcoin were, and they went and they interviewed them. And they've been aware of this for many years. And yet it's being passed off as this, almost like they want to pretend like nobody made it, like it just came from the ether, right? Ironically, like it was just there. But still, folks made it, and the people that made it were likely agents of these same agencies, or agents of China, or we don't know for sure, but we know that they've been protected, and we know that Ethereum has been protected and given a free pass. And so everything that is being blamed on Ripple and XRP that they are not guilty of, they did not have an IPO where they sold to private investors first. They did not sell unregistered securities. This is what Ethereum especially was really guilty of. So this is a really important factor when it comes down to the distinction of these financial systems, and people who are confused when they think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are the for the people new financial system and the positive coins, when in reality Those are the cartel coins that they want. That's why they want just those two, because they want those one or two coins to do everything. They want no gold, no silver. They don't want you owning gold and silver. They don't want any of that. They want you owning Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are crap technology. They are outdated. They are inefficient. They are not good payment systems. It's very expensive and very slow to send transactions over Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then that doesn't even get into the fact that they're huge energy sucks. So this idea of mining crypto, this is ridiculous. This is an outdated technology. And this is what we talk about in my Conscious Crypto course as well. Why mining is a ridiculous, outdated technology that is part of this financial cartel. We don't have mining with XRP because it's dumb and we don't need it. We don't need to spend that much energy in consensus mechanisms with the XRP technology. The XRP technology uses what is called the Federated Byzantine Agreement, which comes from the Byzantine generals problem. You can look into that, but essentially it's a military grade security system that cannot be majority hacked by people having majority control of the network. And so with Bitcoin and Ethereum, we see that communist China owns the majority of the miners for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that means that they have majority control over the network, and they can do what is called a 51% attack on the network and essentially fork it or take complete control of it. And that's not what we want, right? So these are the things that I hope people can share with their friends, their family, their colleagues when these things come up, because most people are just simply uneducated, and rightfully so, because, you know, this is a very confusing time, right? There's this new technology. People don't understand it. They're so used to the old financial system, which to me was the confusing one. The old one was like, I didn't get the old financial system, but the new one, the quantum financial system, that really resonates with me in my heart. That makes sense. It's decentralized. It's run by the people. It's for the people. It's validated by the people. You can't have somebody take it over. You can't have someone take your money from you, right? It is sovereign, secure, and divine in its most pure sense. All right, and I'll get to some of the chat questions in a little bit when I get through this a little more. So just to kind of add on to this person on Twitter says, I'm not sure what question they're referring to, but they say, good question. My theory, Ripple is financed by investors who want to overturn the existing system and who would not sell. The escrow also plays a role in making the price of the company as high as possible after the IPO to prevent takeover by incumbents. And what they're referring to is that Ripple owns about half the supply of XRP, and that is in an escrow where it's not accessible. Like, they can't just go sell that all at once. They only are allowed to access a small amount each month, and what they don't use every month goes back into the escrow. So it's a really good system for security and to make sure that it's not going to be taken over by incumbents, as they say. Another interesting fact is that Ripple is actually actively buying XRP. So that's really interesting because they are, you know, they're the ones who have the majority of it, and they were selling it. And I think they are still selling bits of it, but they're also buying it. So why would they be buying it, right? They're buying it because they know what's coming. And it's also a way to secure it. And it's a way that will also raise the prices, because the more they buy, the higher the prices are going to go. The less they sell, you know, the prices won't go down. And so we're going to get into that in a second with what's going on with one of the original founders of Ripple and how his supply that he was being forced to sell is now empty, and this is going to inevitably raise the price. But real quick, David Schwartz here says, I could give you a long list of reasons to avoid banks. Would he say that if they were really on the cartel bank side? Would he say, here's a list of reasons to avoid banks? I could give you a long list of reasons to avoid banks, but somehow I think you aren't generally interested. And he is referring to someone who says, why not use a bank? If you wanted a safe place to park some dollars, why not use a bank? For one thing, a bank can refuse to allow you to access your own money if it thinks your request is suspicious and you have no appeal rights or the like. So this is why I don't keep my money in the bank anymore, because you have no sovereignty over your money in the bank. They can just tell you that you can't access it. And with XRP and blockchain, you have complete sovereignty, complete rights over all of your finances. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can do anything about it. It comes down to you. Another interesting thing is somebody asked if XRP was quantum proof. Now, this is a great question because this is about quantum computing, and if quantum computing can have an effect on blockchain. And so what David Schwartz says is that the XRP ledger itself is not quantum resistant, although it could be made so. But with the present mechanisms we have, the result would kind of suck because the quantum resistant algorithms we know of all have painful disadvantages in blockchain applications. My current thinking is that we monitor the state of the art carefully and implement the best quantum resistant algorithms whenever the risk looks to be within about 5 years of materializing. I don't think we're there yet. However, cold wallets that hold only XRP and have never performed a transaction are already quantum resistant. Also, if you disable the master key and set a new regular key, your account is quantum resistant until you perform another transaction. Then you can change it again. So basically what he's saying is if you send XRP to a private cold wallet, not a hot wallet, but like a hard wallet, like a Decent or a Ledger Nano, and you don't have any other cryptocurrencies on there and you have not made any outgoing transactions, then that is quantum resistant. So this is a really good sign because I've not seen this with other cryptocurrencies. And like he said as well, the cryptocurrencies that do talk about being quantum resistant inherently just struggle for their own inherent blockchain applications. So it's a matter of where the technology is at this point. And he's alluded to in the past too that as they, like he's saying here, as quantum computing develops, they will be developing more ways to become quantum resistant. And this also reminds me of Palantir, who is kind of connected to the XRP ledger in a way where Peter Thiel, the founder of Palantir, was one of the original investors in OpenCoin, which is what became Ripple. And Palantir has said publicly they're working on problems that are 20 years out, 20 plus years out from now. So probably working on these type of problems, quantum resistance with blockchain, things that we're not even really fathoming yet at this point. All right. The other big story recently that Ripple even talked about themselves is that we have reached some XRP history. One of the founders of Ripple who went off and created, who left Ripple, created Stellar, he had a contract to sell all his XRP over a number of 10 years, and he just finished selling all of it. It was about 10% of the total supply, and he had essentially been dumping on the markets, lowering the price, keeping the price artificially low for 10 years. And now that's over, and that's a big deal because it kind of correlates to the same time period. July 18th is when this is dated. Same time period that we saw what looks like the bottom of XRP come in. And so he was providing a lot of the liquidity for XRP. And this correlates to what I was saying too, that the amount of XRP available is actually drying up because Jed is not selling it anymore, and he was providing a lot of that liquidity. So there's a whole Ripple article here that you can go and read. I'm not going to go through it, but they go over a great detail of how the relationship between Jed McCaleb and the rest of the Ripple employees worked, how he left because they didn't have a similar vision. And David even mentions here on how he goes into more detail about basically just how their visions didn't align on certain specifics, that Jed wanted to do a Ripple Facebook giveaway and Ripple didn't want to do that. So it's one of the first things Stellar did, and it was generally considered a disaster, he says. He says Stellar pivoted to become a clone of Ripple. Jed tried to dump his XRP quickly, and Ripple acted to stop him through a series of lawsuits. Thanks to Ripple's refusal, Jed's XRP will probably be worth more than $1 billion. He actually made like, I think, $3 billion or something. This was posted back in, I think, 2018. He will probably be one of the only persons to become a self-made billionaire despite his best efforts. And so this whole saga has now come to a close with Jed finally selling the rest of his taco stand, as they call it, XRP, and that's why they say the stand is finally out of tacos. So this is generally a bullish indicator that we're not going to have as much price suppression on the markets, that the markets are going to be allowed to come up more naturally, because he's not actively selling 10% of the supply of XRP every month. So this is good news. Dr. Andres says, I know that the new wealth is on vital force, higher frequencies, more money. Angelito says, that theory lines up with with what BitBoy has been saying. The moon cycles follow presidential election cycles. Yeah, so the crypto follows all this stuff too. It follows the moon cycles, the election cycles. We have the midterms coming up, so we'll see what happens with all that. Seven Sky says, am I alone knowing that I should be diversifying my bag, but just knowing what XRP brings, I can't bring myself to purchase anything other than XRP? I would agree. I have majority of my portfolio in XRP and very little bits in other things, but even then I'm tempted to sell it back all in XRP. Dr. Andres says, I will never buy gold. I like the idea of having gold, but I think that an investment in these currencies that are going to reset and empower gold and the precious metals is a far better investment, because the return of investment, I think, is going to be way more substantial than buying the precious metals themselves. And I think that it will be directly or indirectly backed by the precious metals eventually as well. Joel says, I wonder why the wallet has to be transactionless for the quantum resistance. And that's a good question. I don't totally know why from a tech perspective, but I guess that having transactions would create some kind of vulnerability in the quantum network and the quantum computer's capabilities somehow. All right, the other thing I wanted to talk about was Sologenic. So Sologenic DEX is one of the things that I've had a big focus on lately, and this is built on the XRP ledger. So I really like it because it's bringing more stuff to XRP, and I get really, really good vibes about it. There's an amazing community that's being built around Sologenic right now. Basically, what Sologenic does is it's going to bring tokenized stocks, securities, commodities, natural resources, things like that, to XRP, which means that people will have a fair and accessible access to things like stocks instead of having to go through brokers and all this stuff. So this brings it back to the people again. And right now, it's at a pretty good price relative to XRP2. They're also building a decentralized NFT marketplace that will rival and is rivaling the Ethereum NFTs on OpenSea and like Rarible. So I think as more of the ETHgate stuff comes out, that the Ethereum NFTs and the Ethereum projects are going to start to poop the bed. People are going to come over to XRP and the NFTs that are going to be on XRP. So if you are an artist, if you're a painter, if you're a digital artist, if you're a musician, you can create your NFTs for much cheaper, much more efficiently than you can by putting them on OpenSea. Now, there's not as much traction here yet as there is on that big platform, but OpenSea is a centralized NFT exchange, so it has all these issues. There's been hacks. People have lost millions of dollars because of insider trading and hacks and all sorts of stuff. But this is a decentralized exchange, so it's really run by the users of the network. And this is what I recommend for people who are wanting to get into NFTs. In fact, I'm going to help a friend in the next few days create an NFT collection on here that I'll tell you guys about. I managed to snag one of these awesome Solonation NFT utility NFTs here, which I'm so honored and grateful to have, because there's only 111 of these, and they're going to be extremely valuable and rare. They have real utility. It's not just the art. This is what really makes NFTs unique, is when they have a real world utility. So I just did a video about this, the last video I did talking about this, but these NFTs, for instance, are going to allow, as they say, access to exclusive groups, VIP tickets to meetups, waitlist priorities, and many more perks. So I'll show you guys the one I got. It's got a cool planet. It's number 42, like the universe, like the answer to everything in the universe, you know, from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What's the ultimate answer to everything? 42. Let's see. There we go. This one here is mine. Pretty sweet. I'm pretty stoked about it. They're selling for like $8,000 at the cheapest. $9,000 right now at the cheapest. There's been $32,000 of volume that's moved through them. So really cool. You can actually still snag one of these if you become super active in the Solonation community, which means basically you can join the Sologenic Discord. If you get on Twitter and you use the Solonation hashtag and you're a part of the community and interacting, then you can be eligible to win one of these from my friend Zen God. He's the one that is working with Sologenic to hand these out and distribute them. And there's going to be a meetup in Vegas for the Solonation coming up in September, where the group of people, not just the NFT holders, but anyone who wants to come, will be able to come and hang out, and I'm looking forward to that. It should be pretty fun. So that's going to be cool. And one of the other cool things is that David Schwartz himself is going to be holding one of these. It was something that the community had been trying to put out there. They were tagging him, and eventually he responded and said, "What hoops do I need to jump through to get one of these?" So it looks like David's going to be getting one, which of course is going to drive the value up way more. And also BitBoy Crypto, the biggest crypto YouTuber, it looks like he just got a Solonation OG. So we're seeing some big cryptos, like, you know, influencers basically, that are going to be holders of this. And these, I think, could like rival, you know, what we've seen with the Bored Ape Yacht Club on Ethereum and that kind of thing. But these are going to have like more real world utility and purpose. And everyone that I've seen that holds one of these is like very much more conscious than the people that are holding the Bored Ape Yacht Club. They're conscious people. They're service to others. They're here to help create a beautiful community and create like a new world with this technology. So I think that's really cool, and I think it's really promising, and I'm honored to be a holder of one of these and to be a part of this. All right, that is me. We don't need that. And that's about it for this video. So we can get into chat and Q&A and stuff now, but that's all the stuff that I had. Again, this is sponsored by my own coaching program. If you want to learn how to implement all this stuff, if you want to learn how to seed your finances in the new financial system, how to store your wealth sovereignly, securely, quantum resistantly, how to essentially do everything that you need to know to be successful in this new quantum financial system, how to generate passive income, go ahead, click the link in my bio. You can book a free call with me here. I've got a little video here that explains about the coaching program, what exactly it offers, what it entails, and then you can book a free call and we will see if it's a good fit for you. And everyone who's been drawn to this program has just been super cool, conscious, like-minded people. Everyone is set on, in one way or another, creating the new earth, and everyone's got their unique way of doing it. And that's what I really like about the XRP community in general, that everyone who I know that holds XRP has some amazing ideas on how they want to use their wealth to service the planet and to create the new earth. And that's what this reset's all about. That's what the quantum financial reset is about taking the wealth that we're going to create from this, giving it back to the earth, and creating the kind of planet that we actually want to see, that's run by the people for the people. So if you want to be a part of that, and you want to be a part of the greatest transfer of wealth to ever hit the planet, go ahead, click that link in my bio. You can book a free call with me, and we'll have a chat and see if it's a good fit for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chat now. Son of a Bear says, "What do you?" Good to see you, by the way, man. I love your content, especially on TikTok. Son of a Bear has some great stuff, mushroom foraging and lots of cool stuff. He says, "What do you think of Ripple's entanglement with the World Economic Forum? It really makes me uneasy. I don't want to own nothing." Yeah, so this is, I'm not sure if you were in the video a little bit earlier, but we kind of touched on this a little more in the beginning, with Ripple essentially being a Trojan horse into the World Economic Forum and into the world banks. So essentially, Ripple is going around to these various financial groups, and from what I'm seeing and what others are seeing, giving them an ultimatum, giving them essentially a deal, which is, paraphrasing here, but the new financial system is coming, whether you like it or not. The old one is dying. You can choose to be a part of this new financial system, or you can choose to try to keep running your silly war games and all this cartel stuff and, slowly die off and probably, get what's coming to you from the people. So what I see behind the scenes, what's really happening is that Bitcoin and Ethereum are the ones that are run by the banking cartels. That's why they hate XRP. The banks are actually really heavily invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum, but XRP is like the Trojan horse. So it's like, how are you going to get to the heart of the enemy? You gotta get your weapon in there, essentially. And so I see Ripple as the sword of the light. You could kind of compare it to like Archangel Michael's sword in a way. It's just the thing that's coming to mind, where it's going to go into the depths of the darkness, which is the World Economic Forum, and it's going to change it from the inside out. And so even though, yes, like Ripple is, on the World Economic Forum's website and everything, to me, it's a Trojan horse. It is a way that they're getting into the underbelly of the banking system, which truly hates them and doesn't want this to happen. They want Bitcoin and Ethereum. They want the cryptos that hate gold, and that they're trying to tell you, get rid of your gold. We don't want you to own gold and silver and all that. But slowly they're coming over because they don't want to die either. They want to, prosper. So it's kind of like when Trump went around to these countries around the world and gave them this opportunity. Look, you can be a part of the new system that's going on, or you can slowly die and have the people take revenge on you as they discover your crimes against humanity. And I believe that is essentially what's going on here with Ripple. And also, I think that Ripple doesn't have to be around in the long term. I think it would be better if Ripple slowly faded away over time and XRP became more decentralized in that way for the people. And it's fully decentralized, but what I mean is, like, XRP does not need Ripple, and Ripple doesn't need XRP, but they have a alliance, you could say, even though XRP is not a group, it's a currency. But the currency doesn't need Ripple. And so I think optimally Ripple does go away in the future, and that way we don't have a company that's doing this kind of thing. But it's like the transition of the systems. I think it just has to happen this way. Joel said earlier, do you have a new camera? It looks clearer. Yeah, it is a new camera. Very keen observation. Did a little upgrade. Dr. Andres says the two cryptos that have pumped up the most lately are ETH and Matic. ETH did do a big pump lately. Matic, I haven't followed Matic as much, but I'll take your word for that. But today, as we were pointing out, it was XRP that really pulled ahead from the rest of the market. Like XRP is by far up the most today over Ethereum. Ethereum's actually down today, down 0.44%. XRP is still up 8.8. It was up to like 12, but it's doing a little bit of consolidation now. But still up way more. So I think the more that comes out about this SEC case and the corruption with ETH and how the SEC and the government have been giving Ethereum a free pass, that and you know, also the technology, like how Ethereum is just really a crappy technology. It's not scalable, it's not efficient, it's really slow, it's expensive, it's not for the people, it's controlled by bad actors. The more that comes out, I think the more that we'll see this split between XRP and the other assets like that. Cool, guys. Well, pleasure hanging out. I hope you got some value out of that. I'm going to head out of here now. And again, if you want to learn about how to get into cryptocurrency, if you want to learn more about all this stuff and actually implement it, have some technical help on doing all this stuff, you can click the link in my bio, go to consciouscrypto.info, and you can learn some more about my coaching program. It's a 90-day coaching program, but really it's really forever, because you get the course itself forever. But the coaching itself is 90 days, and the people in there are super awesome, super great community. And there's a couple people in the chat here like Joel that are in there. And yeah, go ahead, check that out. And I will see you guys again when there's some more updates, probably next Saturday. I'm going to try to do these Saturday videos more regularly again, especially as the stuff is heating up. And really my goal is I just want to prepare you guys for this new system, because there's only so much time that's left. And eventually, you know, let me rephrase that. We have infinite amount of time, but for the specific opportunities that are available right now, there's only so much time that's left. And I want people to be able to take full advantage of those opportunities while they're here in the present moment. And eventually we're going to be in a reality where everything is exactly how we want it to be, but it's going to be a transition process to get there. And I fundamentally believe that the wealth and abundance that this system is going to bring people will be how we as individuals shift the planet, because there's no saviors coming for us. There's no one that's going to do it for us. It really is up to us. We are the guardians of Earth. We are the guardians of our timeline, and we need to take responsibility for that. And to me, this is the most in our face, abundant, in the moment opportunity to be able to take responsibility and initiation to do that and to create the world that we want to see. So with that said, love you guys, much love. Check out my coaching program if you want to learn more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.